Hello Year 11 and welcome to our second video here for our sixth topic. We're looking at commission, piecework and royalties in this exercise. In the last video, in the last exercise, we talked about calculating someone's earnings, someone's pay, according to wages or salary. Commission, piecework and royalties are other ways of calculating people's earnings. A commission is calculated as a percentage of the sales that you have made. Okay, so for people who sell things like maybe real estate or cars, they might be paid a commission. Piecework is where you are paid per item of work that you do. So it's sort of per unit of work, not per hour. So this might be something like manufacturing clothing, and you might get paid a certain amount per shirt, perhaps, something like that. Or if you are perhaps picking fruit, you might get paid per bucket that you fill. Right? With the incentive that the sort of more efficiently that you work, the faster that you work, the more productive you are, the more you earn. And finally, royalties are paid typically to artists like authors or filmmakers or musicians, these sorts of things. And they will be paid for example, an author will be paid a royalty for every book that is sold. A musician might be paid a royalty for every album that is sold. Right? There's a fixed amount for each of those units. It's not usually a very large amount, but if you move a lot of volume, right? If you sell a lot of books or you sell a lot of albums, then you receive that royalty over and over again. Okay. So let's have a look at an example now where we have Josh being paid 73 cents for every shirt folded and boxed. This is an example of piecework. So if he processed 1,440 shirts, how much did he earn? Well, I just take these number of units, these shirts, multiply it by the rate, and I have 1,440 times 0.73. Out comes the calculator. Clear that away. 1440 times 0.73. And Josh earns $1,051.20. Oops. Right, there we go. That's what he earned for the week. Example 5 here. Ali earns a retainer. What does that mean? We'll explain it in a moment. Of 415 plus a commission. Okay, right, there's our clue here. We're talking about commission. Retainer will be a clue to that as well, but doesn't mean. On the value of Wonder Mops sold. So an 8.5% commission on sales of these mops. Now, a retainer is a fixed sum that you're paid regularly, so weekly, fortnightly, maybe monthly, before you get your commission. There are all sorts of different ways, these sort of conditions that might be applied to how commission is calculated, but a retainer is a fixed amount that you're paid, a bit like a salary, a fixed amount that you're paid before any commission. Okay, so that you sort of have a guaranteed income even if your sales are low. Now, let's see what we've got here. Ali's going to earn 415. I'm going to say E for earnings, or let's say P for pay. Oops, my pen's not working. P for pen's not working. Try this one. No, that's not working either. Hang on. Okay, now the pay is 415 plus the commission. Now, 8.5%, we divide that by 100 to get 0.085, right? That's 8.5% times the sales of 1,595. So our retainer plus the commission. Thank you again to the calculator. Oops, come here, calculator. And I have 415 plus 0.085, that's my 8.5% of 1,595. Be careful you don't multiply all of those together. I add the retainer to the commission. Equals $550 and let's say 58 cents. 550.58. There we go. That's commission with retainer. Now, let's say that Ali earned $700 in the week, which is more than she earned in this week. So she must have sold more than this value of mops. How am I going to work this out? Well, what we're going to do is, I'm going to subtract the retainer from that first. So we're going to say 700 minus the 415 equals, what does it equal? $285. Okay, so that tells me that the commission component of Ali's income for the week was $285. And that $285 is 8.5% of something. So, the best way to work with this is this unitary method. So I'm going to find out what 1% of the sales were, and then I can work out what the total sales were. So I take the 285 commission, 85, and I'm going to divide that by 8.5. That's going to tell me what 1% of the sales is. So 285 divided by 8.5 equals 33 point something something, right? And we need all of those. I'm just going to say 33.53 for the time being. Right, I'm going to round it off to write it down, but I'm going to leave that number on my calculator. So 8.5% of sales is $285. That means that 1% of the sales is $33.53, which means that 100% of the sales is 100 times this, which will be $3,353. Okay, so I'm going to go 100 times 33.53 equals, now in this particular case, because I've rounded it off to 2 decimal places and I want it to the nearest dollar, it's all going to work out pretty neatly here, but just to show you, times 100, this way we can work it out to the nearest cent. It'd be 33.5294 cents, but it says to the nearest dollar, so 33.53. $3,353 worth of sales, and a quick common sense check. Yep, that's a bit more than the sales in that previous week. That makes sense. Rightio, that's it for commission, piecework, and royalties. If you've got any questions, of course, jot them down so you don't forget them, and ask me in class. Alternatively, if it's really a burning issue, shoot me a message and I'll try to get back to you straight away. Otherwise, I will see you in class while we work through this exercise.